Okay, so in the linear rail upgrade kit, you'll get all of the parts here. So you'll get your linear rail with the brackets pre-attached and the linear block already on. You get a timing belt attachment bracket, a head attachment bracket, a lens tube and nozzle, the lens tube holder, the butterfly that holds the tube on, and some Allen keys and the screws you will need. So we just put this to the front, move the gantry back. First of all, we need to remove the gantry. So we take out the screws holding in the drive belt. Ooh, steady. And there's the return wheel for the drive belt. I made a cunning little window in the end of my machine so I can put the Allen key in and whiz the bolts out. And when you undo this, everything just flaps about. Come on. And then we can, oops, helps if you take the screws out both ends. Spot the deliberate mistake. And then you can simply lift the original X-axis and put it to one side out of the way. What we'll also need to do is relocate the limit switch. I'll just undo that for the moment. And I'll just take that off. Put it safe down there. And the spacers. Okay, then having removed the X-axis from the machine, the original one with the carriage, got all the parts laid out. So we've got the new linear rail with the mounting brackets, we've got the drive belt and its mounting bracket, the adapter bracket, the new lightweight head tube holder assembly with the mirror 3. That's pre-installed simply because I've done this from a previous machine. And got the lens tube with the lens installed, and there's the air assist connection there. We've got the butterfly to hold the tube in, got the limit switch adapter bracket and a selection of screws. And for me, I'll start with the limit switch adapter bracket. So we take the small packing piece, place it on there, grab the shorter of the two screws and simply attach. There is just the one screw, there's no real mechanical issues with this. Try not to over tighten it because you will strip the thread. And then this simply sits on the bracket here, and we have a longer 3mm, sorry, M3 screw. Tightens the bracket down. And you can leave that slightly loose just for now. And what we'll do now is attach the linear rail. Got the other Allen key. Now there are two different screw lengths, simply because on the right hand end you've got a 1.5mm plate, and at this end you've got a 4 or so millimeter section. Now, those with acute sense of smell will notice that the bolts on this end on mine have washers on. That is simply because whoever had the machine prior to me drilled out these holes, and so I've just put a washer behind to help spread, well, so that the head doesn't come into those holes. And you can see we've got the magic hole in the end, which we made earlier. Then we pop the screw through and attach. Again, not doing it up fully. Get them started. Now the same at this end. Now at this end we've already got the hole in the case, we don't have to make our own. And again, whoever had the machine previously, for whatever reason, didn't make the holes in the end slightly larger than they should be. So we just do those screws up. Again, no need to over tighten them. Oops, butter ears. Go. And we can take the drive belt adapter with the belt pre-installed. As you can see, it does have to stand off quite a way, and what I've done on this is there is a nut missing off there and a washer. Extended the belt across just to give a little bit of extra strength in there, because when you punch a hole in this 5mm belt, there isn't a great deal of belt left. Also, we can remove the tape that was holding the linear block. Now this does take a little bit of origami. Pop the drive belt over that end, hold it there and feed it through. There should be enough. Oops, that didn't work, did it? What we'll do is just release this end. And then fighting is this one. Pop the belt over the wheel. And feed the screw through. This can be a little bit awkward because it's not easy to see the screw holes. It doesn't help if you almost cross thread it. Come on. You know you want to. Ooh. Just fighting back a little bit, this one. There we go. One side started, and the other side should then fall in place. And do the belt up again. You don't, doesn't need to be like a violin string. And we take the head adapter plate, and again I find it easier put the screws in for this whilst I've got it attached to the adapter plate. You put the 3 locking screws in to those slots. Doesn't want to go, come on. For whatever reason, we got that. Yep, that's it, come on. And the 4th one is the spring bolt, the washer that comes from the rear. Now this bolt is longer from the one that will be supplied, simply because I didn't have the correct length at the moment. But what that does allow is you can slacken off those three, and it allows the movement, and it will hold it in place, because not everybody has the deft touch that allows you to slacken screws off to a point where there's just a little bit of friction. There's a bit more than a little bit of friction on there for some reason. Oh, what's wrong with you? Oh, I've got the washer stuck. There we go. Maybe need to back that off a little bit. A bit too eager. Just need enough pressure to hold it. There we go. And then we attach this to the linear block, lining up the holes in the drive belt adapter plate. And again, just pop the screws in. Don't have to do them up catastrophically tight for now. One thing to bear in mind is these small screws, if you give them a lot of grief, you will twist the hex out of them, and that will give you a problem. So that's the carriage in place, and in use we pop the tube in, pop the butterfly on, and just tighten it, and then we will eventually do the alignment and tighten these screws up properly. One thing we haven't done yet is bring the limit switch cable round. That will, I will tidy that up. I think I'll do it now before we... There are different ways that this can come round. One thing I would say is be aware of the fact that you see that burn mark there. That wasn't me, Your Honour. It was my twin who did that and almost went through the cable. Luckily it was almost. But we can tidy that up later. All we need to do now is take the double-sided tape. This is the little bracket that's fitted on the carriage that actuates the limit switch, and we've got a little piece of double-sided tape. And we stick that on there. Press it down nice and firm. Feel off the... Ooh! Dropsy! All ears and thumbs this afternoon. Oh, would you believe it, the tape doesn't want to come off the Mylar film, which it's not supposed to stick to very well. Oh dear. I feel an edit coming on. Pop another piece of tape on. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, we've lost the scissors now. This is what happens when you go a bit off piste. And grab a sharp knife. Ta-da! There we go. I've got the double-sided tape. The kit will be supplied with a slightly different tape to this. A highly pressure sensitive tape. And basically you put it underneath and you pop this over here. Now we've got to stop short because the wing nut will hit there if we're not careful, and we move this out a little bit. It's just seem a bit fiddly, I know. And for some reason that doesn't line up. Oh dear. I have a sneaky feeling that I've used the Mark 1 bracket. Doesn't seem to want to line up at all. And the reason being is that I've used the incorrect bracket. Oh dear. Now you see what I said about these screws? On coming out for whatever reason. There we put it now. This goes to show not perfect. Not quite anyway. So we'll just swap this to the previous bracket. This isn't the final bracket because the final bracket does have the slot in it to allow a small amount of adjustment. But it will allow me to pop this on just to show how it all fits together. Purposes of this demonstration, I'll use a different screw just because that one has had a lot of grief And that should line up. Ta-da! And now, if we remove all the spare parts, check we've got everything right. There's the belt on. That's nice and tight. And we can fire it up. Oops, helps if it's turned on the wall. Right. Now, as you will see, nothing happened. Basically, this machine has a mini gerbil board in, and it doesn't auto home until it's recognised the board. So we pop over to the computer and in light burn we choose the mini gerbil, and there we go. All up and running. The next video will show the alignment process. Thank you for watching.